Welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. Now, Frank Luntz is breaking down the issues and candidates with special Republican focus groups in the critical swing could decide the GOP nomination and the presidency. But there is one issue that Republicans can't seem to agree on. Now, Frank is in Michigan to find out why. Frank.
The Republicans agree that Barack Obama has to go. And they also agree that they want to win control of the Senate to go along with their control of the House. But there is one issue, one controversial issue that divides them, and that's the issue of immigration. Tell me, tell the American people, how many of you would deport every illegal immigrant that you could find? Raise your hands.
If it were feasible.
How can you afford that? How can you afford it? So we already have a budget deficit.
I understand that, but they're taking money out of our pockets. You say they're not here through any fault of their own, but you know it's not my fault either. And I'm paying their bills.
Alabama has just passed a law that's all of a sudden immigrants are leaving on their own accord.
And they're here illegally. They're breaking the law. Administrative law or not, it's still breaking the law.
You know, it's a disservice to people that come to this country legally, that go through the system, that work hard to be here and do it the right way, to have people that just come here without going through that same process. It isn't fair. It isn't fair to those that did it the right way.
John?
We have got the laws in place presently. They're not being enforced. The problem is you've got to get the laws and get people to obey them.
And who's responsible for enforcing them?
The president.
The federal government.
You hold
The
Obama
federal
responsible.
The federal government starts with the president.
I think if a immigrant serves in the military and risks his life for our country, that we ought to give him, let him be a citizen.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got one area of consensus. If you have a country in the military, you ought to be able to earn citizenship. Is there something else we can agree on?
Well, if you have the right policies and enforce E-Verify, then you can create an environment where the illegals don't want to be here and they'll leave on their own. And that's happening in some of the states that are
And
doing
what
that.
causes them to want to leave?
It's
No
not
jobs.
no jobs anymore, no money.
But it's not going to work until the border's closed, because it doesn't matter if you send them out, they're going to come back. You have to close the borders, and you have to keep track of the people that come here legally and stay.
Michael, when Rick Perry articulated that we had to be compassionate and that we had no heart if we didn't understand the situation that some of them are in, Republicans across the country cringed. Did you cringe, or did you agree with him?
No, I cringed. I don't agree with that. Since when is doing things in a legal manner not compassionate? The one thing that it drives me crazy, and I don't think the Republicans actually deal with it in an aggressive enough manner, is the difference between legal and illegal immigration. We seem to lump it all into immigration. We say, well, my parent was an immigrant. Well, yeah, they were a legal immigrant, not illegal. And to me, that is the huge issue.
We're a nation of immigrants, and I have family that came from Europe, and they all came through Ellis Island. They followed the rules. Why do we need to make exceptions to people that broke the law initially, and we enable them to keep breaking the law by being here illegally?
I want you to see that one clip because it was very dramatic. Republicans turned against Rick Perry when he talked about his position on immigration. Let's take a look.
There is nobody on this stage who has spent more time working on border security than I have. But if you say that we should not educate children who state for no other reason than they've been brought there by no fault of their own, I don't think you have a heart.
So here's the question. We know that you don't agree with that. What about legal immigration? Should we open the borders?
No, we should not open
For legal immigration.
Well, we have a great policy for legal immigration.
But there are people trying to get in from Korea and Taiwan, and they can't because there are limits.
Well, we're a sovereign nation. Liberals are always complaining that, you know, other countries are sovereign nations, but they forget about us. And we're a very special country, and lawlessness leads to less freedom.
No, but I'm speaking now of people who want to come here legally. Are you hostile to legal immigration?
No, I think that's what makes our nation so great is we're so culturally diverse, and thank goodness my grandparents were able to come here as well, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. And
Where'd they come here from?
Italy and Germany.
They're lucky that you aren't living in Italy right now for all that's going on.
Russian immigrants. My grandparents were Bolsheviks in the Russian Revolution and left because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be.
They were Bolsheviks and you came out a conservative. What happened?
I'm a recovering liberal.
Keep recovering.
I just read an article about how Canada has passed a law where you have to have a net worth of $800,000 in order to become a citizen in Canada. Yeah.
So I need to get out. My question is, are you hearing from any presidential candidates an immigration policy that you support, or are you still waiting for answers? You're still waiting? Well, there are going to be plenty of debates between now and the Iowa caucuses and New Hampshire primary, and there's a lesson here for every presidential candidate who's watching. They're still waiting for an answer on immigration, and they want to hear your answer now.
And thanks, Frank. And then coming up, we head out west to the swing state of Nevada, and Frank is joined by outspoken businessman Steve Wynn. That's straight ahead on this special edition of Hannity.